all the electronics in this guy just hang out on the bottom here, just hang out naked. And I took off a lot of electronics to use in a different airplane. So now let's compare that to this twin boom pusher style airplane, which is overall just a really nice airplane to fly. It lifts off really easily. It's got a very thick wing. I spoke about that. And we're comparing all of these, so I'm just giving the relative advantages and disadvantages. The motor is mounted in a location where it is thoroughly protected in the event of a crash. The nose section has a nice pyramidal shock absorption area where if it does crash nose first, it's going to really absorb much of the impact and pretty much have no damage to the rest of the airplane. It's got the canted winglets again for roll stability, but in addition to that, it's got the drooping leading edge cuff, using a dowel in order to make a drooping leading edge cuff, which really is nice for slow speed flight. When with this guy where he doesn't have it, he'll tend to drop a wing, stall a wing, and at extremely slow speeds, very dramatically. Whereas this one will basically stall straight ahead even at slow speeds because of these drooping leading edge cuffs. Now the other guy that we discussed in a different video, and I'm just going to put him on top of this because I don't really have a good place, but anyway, this is the constant chord swept wing flying wing with a very high aspect ratio. He has extremely good glide performance, the best of all of them, but he has extremely poor yaw and roll stability at the stall speed. When you're basically right above stall speed, he just tends to drop a wing and yaw violently in the direction of the wing that has the bend that I spoke about in the other video, because this wing it did not come out in terms of both wings having the same amount of bend as you progress out from the root to the tip. There was a problem with one of them where there was a significant amount of down bend due to the natural bend of the foam, despite the fact that I tried to kind of straighten things out using these, where I had to put these spars anyway for strength. But anyway, they didn't really straighten out the bend. This guy's been flown a lot, as you can see. Bashed it in the nose several times, and but he's really tough. He's been through a lot, and despite the fact that he's been through a lot, he's really survived, and some minor repairs, but other than that, he's been doing just fine. I took all the electronics out because I needed it and the engine because I needed it for this guy. This guy is certainly the coolest looking of the four planes that I've discussed here, and he has really good stability in terms of being like on rails. You get this guy in the air, and he flies really straight like an arrow, but he rolls a little too fast, so he's very sensitive in roll. And because there's no automatic kind of roll stability here, just kind of neutral roll stability, so you got to be pretty active on the controls. One thing I wanted to show here is that this rudder is just one thin sheet of Dollar Tree foam board. It's not a rudder, I'm sorry, it's a vertical stabilizer. So it was kind of floppy, and the only way that I found that was kind of going to work for stabilizing is to put like a little dowel here, glue that in, one on this side and one on the other side as well, in order to get some decent stability here. And that's pretty much it. I mean, the main thing that I found was an advantage. I think you've seen in one of my other videos, is that I built another kind of delta wing. It wasn't fully delta. It had a little bit of an instep At the rear, it wasn't fully a straight line at the back, but it was a KFM3, and I find that the KFM3s are okay, but they're not as good as like a real airfoil, which is what I've got here. It basically approximates a real airfoil, and and they seem to be less pitchy. By the way, these it's not clear, it may not be clear in the picture here, but the wing tips here are just tape, just taped from the point where the foam ends to the wingtip, and that's where the airflow is directed, and that really saves some weight, and there's not really much structural stability gained from putting in additional foam there, so just tape does the job. And I found that I put in the time to do this one very carefully, in the sense of making things very symmetrical and carefully cut the pieces, and carefully making sure the weight was equal on both sides, and so on and so forth. And that did pay off. That effort paid off. It's quite good in yaw stability, and it flies very crisply. Very, it doesn't flop around in the air as much as some of these other guys, where, especially this flying wing guy, where the wings are quite asymmetrical in terms of their bend and in terms of their drag, and so it kind of flops around quite a bit more. But of course, it's lower. Very high aspect ratio wing contributes to that, because you have such huge moment arms, and going back in the lateral direction. Of course, in the longitudinal direction, there's very